unless you experience a real threat to our freedom, to our society, the way that it is, there's all these false flags that come up over the years. Even with Afghanistan, like if you weren't directly involved in Afghanistan, most people couldn't even tell you what was going on while we were in this horrendous war for so long. Do we numb out to it to the point where it's like, hey, it's like the boy cried wolf. Now there's a real wolf, right? People need to wake up.
Yeah, and it's fractal, right? We as a society, and this has been good for us, with the big caveat that maybe we need real challenge that actually puts our safety at risk more often. But that has allowed the U.S. to become, at least until recently, the most booming economy in the world, right? But you take it down to the level of the individual, and I think it's fractal all the way down. And we are living in a moment when the children who are now becoming adults have been protected from all insult and injury. And wait, what did she say? She wants the children to be insulted and injured? Kind of. Now, I wouldn't say it that way, and that is how the detractors will say it. But children need to be exposed to risk. And perhaps what you are saying is societies need to be exposed to risk, real risk, in order not just to calibrate, but actually to regain an understanding of what it's for and what to do, and to know not only what to do in an emergency, but how you yourself will behave when one comes. Because it's too easy to imagine ourselves as the heroes of the stories if we've never actually been tried.
Yeah, I think we are making a mistake of not understanding that society is an analog of a person, and a person without meaningful work, and I don't mean work like a job, but some meaningful goal that is difficult to attain but reasonable to pursue, right? If you don't have that, then you are listless and you get pulled into all kinds of other things because they have no competitor. And at some level, we have been at our best when we have had an important project that we all agreed on, right? Going to the moon was a great idea. I'm not even sure I know why, right? It may be that the most important thing that happened in the going to the moon was that there was a moment at which representatives of our species looked back at the Earth and it changed them. And they came back and spent the rest of their lives trying to explain what they had seen and frankly failing. But a lot of us got it. You saw something you can't now explain to us that we urgently need to know. Now, it's been a very long time, right? So
well, and
that's faded.
The iconic photograph with which we are all familiar. We were babies when that happened, and you were just a little bit older than that. That reveals in a visceral, visual way our shared fate. And this concept of shared fate is absolutely integral to an evolutionary understanding of anything, really. What is it? Bret mentioned in introducing us that some of our interests back in grad school for decades now have been the evolution of social systems, the evolution of sociality, and how it's one thing to be born alone and live a solitary life and come together to mate and then and die alone. And there are vast majority of organisms on the planet do that. But we are in fact not alone as a species, nor are we alone as individuals in being social, having shared fate to varying degrees. And the degree to which we can understand that and remind each other that we are all in this together, as opposed to falling prey to a more basal, more basic, less enlightened version, which is to say tribal, in-group, out-group, vaccinated, unvaccinated, okay, not okay, clean and worthy of your attention and healthcare, dirty and not worthy of your attention or healthcare. No, we're better. We can be better than that. And obviously we're not always better than that. And all of us will fall prey to that sometimes, but we all need to become better than that right now and remember our shared fate.
How can your book help people do that or learn to do that?
Well, we set up the book according to a metaphor that we used with students for years. And the idea was that almost all creatures that navigate visually, at least, will have a bias towards day or night, because it's very difficult to build an eye that's really good at both. So we happen to be diurnal creatures, which means that at night, we're more a hazard to ourselves than we are a help if we try to go out and hunt and gather and do the things that ancient humans did. So instead of doing that, we gather, and at the beginning of the night, we gather around the campfire. And the point is, you have, as a human being, the most marvelous computing apparatus that the known universe has ever produced. And not only is it the most capable computer in the known universe, but it has a very special property, which is that it can plug in with other similar but not the same type of computer, and it can parallel process problems. And so the idea is that campfires throughout human history and even before have been a place where hominids have gathered to solve problems that they will profit if they can find the answer to, by parallel processing those problems, effectively talking to each other, saying, here's what I saw, here's what I think it means. No. That's not what it means, because here's this other observation that I made. That kind of back and forth around the campfire allows us to figure out how to do things that would be good for us to do, that our ancestors knew nothing about. And that is exactly where we are. This process of consciousness that unfolds around a campfire is the process that is supposed to address novel hazards. We are facing the mother of all novel hazards. It is a time for the greatest collective consciousness the world has ever seen to bootstrap our way out and to find safe harbor. And, at some level, the book is a model of that process. It is an invitation to a campfire. It lays out the problem of hypernovelty and the hazard that it poses to humanity, and says the answer is clearly to navigate to somewhere better. We can't say where it is. We can't describe the system that we need, but we can say what it has to accomplish, and we can bootstrap our way there. We can prototype our way there. And really, it is no simpler and no more complex than that.
Thanks for listening to the Successful Mind podcast. And if you like what you heard and you want to know more, go to davidnagel.com/free stuff.